From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
When it's more than just your lawn, it deserves the Kubota Z400. When you need a head-turning offer on class-leading speed, agility, durability, simple deck height adjustments, and a professional-grade cut, then you need the Kubota Z400 mower. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 48 months or save $300.
Tractors, trailers, rentals.
You do it all, we do it local.
Good morning, everyone. We have got a lot to talk about. We've got our first storm that's cold enough that I think is going to bring some snow that could create some minor issues and problems. So let's get right to it. Let's start with Kruger's Quickcast. For those of you that are in a hurry, just want a quick look at the forecast here for today, I've got you covered right here. So for your Wednesday, October 30th, let's start with a wind advisory that's been issued for this morning through this evening in central Siskiyou County. Now, it's still going to be windy in other areas, but this is where we could run into problems here if you drive a high-profile vehicle. So just be aware of that. We can see gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour in central Siskiyou County. Let's take a look at the winds here for today. Not that bad this morning, but they're going to be picking up and progressing through the morning into around midday. And you can see right there, see that? The red, that's upwards of 50 miles per hour. But also take note, along the coast it's gusty. It's beginning to get gusty for parts of the valley and even in the eastern mountains. All right, let's take you through the rest of the afternoon today. Here's about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Still very gusty, right? Still 40 to 50 mile an hour winds there. High profile vehicles could be a problem. Gusty for the valley in the eastern mountains as well. And the wind's probably not as strong along the coast. But again, this is the main area of concern here. That's why there's that wind advisory. And then by tonight, the winds will die down for central Siskiyou County, but still a little gusty here, even at 10 o'clock tonight for the east side of the valley and into the eastern mountains. So just be aware of that. We do have those winds kicking in here through the morning and especially this afternoon and evening for many of us. Here's out the door this morning. Now, there may be a stray shower for parts of the north coast, in particular Del Norte County. But really, we're starting off dry. Now, it's kind of interesting to say that because we do have rain in the forecast. Now, that's because we've got this area of low pressure right here. There's a cold front associated with that. That's all moving in our direction. But the rain that's associated with the storm system is going to take its own sweet time getting here. Let's show you here on Futurecast. So, as you can see here, here's 8 o'clock this morning. There's the bulk of that rain off to our west. By noon, now we're beginning to see some of that rain begin to kick in for the north coast. But really, most of Siskiyou, Trinity County eastward, still dry at noon today. But it's a different story for the north coast. You've got that rain kicking in. Now, we go through around the mid-afternoon hours today. Now it's in all of Siskiyou County, all of Trinity County, Del Norte, Humboldt County seeing the rain. We're also seeing snow mainly above 5,000 feet at this point. Scott Mountain, you may start to see some snowflakes there, but probably no chain requirements at this point. Still dry in the valley, still dry in Modoc County, Lassen, and Plumas counties. That's today at 3 p.m. Now we go into about 5 to 6 p.m. Now it's overspreading the entire region. The valley, even the eastern mountains, beginning to see some of those showers. We've got snow mainly above 4,500, 5,000 feet. And a lot of the back edge of that storm is now drying out for the immediate coast. And then we go into about 10 o'clock tonight. Still some showers in the valley. Eastward, we're seeing snow here. Now we're talking maybe down about 4,000 feet. So Cedar Pass, Morgan Summit, Hatchet Mountain. We've got to watch the potential for some of those areas to maybe see some accumulating snow there. But look how things are drying out. But there's another system coming in here for your Thursday and Friday that's going to bring us even more rain and snow. Speaking of snow, there's a winter weather advisory for the mountains east of the valley. That's for mainly elevations above 5,000 and 6,000 feet. That's for 11 o'clock tonight through 5 p.m. Halloween, so through Thursday. Snow up to 6 inches, and that's, again, mainly above 5,000 feet where you could see that amount of snow. And it'll also be on the windy side. Of course, we saw those winds here for today and even going into tomorrow. So here's your forecast for today. Temperatures low to mid 60s in the valley, 40s and 50s for the higher elevations, and we're talking mid to upper 50s, even some low 60s along the coast. All right, for those of you that want to get that trick-or-treat forecast, well, here you have it. For the valley, so this is for tomorrow, right? You have to look closely. By around, 4 to 6, there may be a stray shower for parts of the valley. So just a little wet. But I do expect that as we get into 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, it's drying out entirely for the valley. So I think we should be okay, especially for the trick-or-treaters that are out a little bit later. Siskiyou, Modoc, Eastern Mountains, I think all have a chance for showers through the entire trick-or-treat time. So, 5 o'clock in the evening on. That's also the case for the North Coast, inland, and for Trinity County. Bottom line, the best chances for showers will be on the coast and the higher elevations through the trick-or-treat time. But for the valley, the first half of it, say around 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, a slight chance for showers. But then by 7, 8, 9, 10, it should be dry in the valley. All right, let's take a look at that 7-day outlook. Off and on chances for showers through Friday. So what we're going to see here is more significant rain coming in tonight, and then another batch of some decent rain coming in Friday afternoon, Friday evening. Slight chance. I'm still keeping it in there, folks, because it's just each model has been very, very consistent. The American forecast model has been dry this whole week for Saturday, and the European forecast model still holding on to that potential for showers for Saturday. So both models still completely disagree. We'll have to kind of wait and see what happens with that. But I do expect mainly dry conditions by the second half of the weekend and early next week as well. That's the case for Siskiyou, Modoc County, and the Eastern Mountains as well. And by the way, snow levels on average between 4,000 and 5,000 feet. Just depending on where you are. Hey, by the way, I want to remind you to set those clocks back an hour Saturday night or Sunday morning. Now, a lot of us won't even have to do that, right? Because your phones, even your clocks in your cars typically change by themselves. But for those of you that still have some of those older clocks that aren't connected to the internet, you're going to need to set those back an hour. By the way, sunrise now is at 7:42. It'll be at 6:42. Or around 7:42, but it'll be at 6:42 this Sunday morning. But the sunset, instead of at 6:02, it'll be at 5:02. So it's getting darker a lot sooner, and then eventually, it's not going to be long after that the sunset will be before 5 o'clock. All right, here's your deeper dive forecast. It took a while to even get through Kruger's Quickcast because there's a lot to talk about, but now we can really kind of dive deep into the forecast and get you some of the details some of you like. All right, so cool and unsettled through Saturday. I've included Saturday now. Remember, it just said Wednesday through Friday? I'm still keeping that chance in there on Saturday, but don't count on much on Saturday, by the way. It's mainly going to be this tonight. I think the heaviest rainfall will be tonight, and then again Friday evening, okay? There's that winter weather advisory east of the valley starting tonight. Dry and warmer this weekend, especially the second half of the weekend into next week. In fact, it mostly looks to be dry through most of next week with temperatures around normal for this time of the year. By the way, here's the latest on the shoe fire. Remember, again, disclaimer, these numbers may have changed by the time you're watching this, but we have been watching this containment go up and up and up. I think earlier this week it was like 52%. Now it's up to 80% containment. So yeah, we're seeing really good progression on the containment of the fire. Winds, let's talk about those winds again. So they're not that bad this morning, but by around midday, central Siskiyou County, valley east into the eastern mountains, even the coast seeing some gusty winds. Now we take you into 5 p.m., still very gusty in central Siskiyou County. Really all the same places are seeing the gusty winds, although the winds are subsiding along the coast this afternoon and evening. But look at Thursday. The winds are picking back up again. That is an association with the storm system that's going to be passing through. So the main concern is not necessarily fires. The fire weather risk will increase a little bit today with those winds, but it's mainly going to be your Halloween decorations. Make sure they are anchored down today, tomorrow, really the next several days. All right, then we take you into Friday. Look at that, the wind's probably picking up again, especially in the valley, east as well. So as these storm systems pass through and bring us the chances for rain, mountain snow, those storms are also going to elevate the winds off and on over the next several days. So again, we look at the humidity levels. Is that going to be a concern for fire weather risk? Well, a little bit today. We've got those down to about 20 to 30%. That's higher than we typically are, but that's still pretty dry, folks. So with those south winds and even those stronger winds in the east, all of this area in brown is where we have the biggest concern for a fire to spread rapidly should one start. So just kind of keep that in mind here for at least today. But look at tomorrow. I mean, the humidity levels much higher, 50, 60, even 70%. And again, we saw those winds picking up even Friday afternoon, but again, we're 60, 70, even 80% relative humidity. So yeah, looking a lot better out there with that humidity level. So there's the approaching storm system right here. You got that cold front. In advance of the cold front, you got a few showers. Behind it, we're looking at colder and more unstable air. This is when we start seeing the snow levels begin to drop. This is when the winds begin to pick up as this cold front passes through. And that's also when we're looking at those scattered showers here. So that's the rain, mountain snow for today and tomorrow. And when I say today, this morning through the day for the coast, this afternoon, evening for the valley eastward, and of course for Siskiyou County eastward as well, into Modoc County too. So yeah, this is the next storm system coming in. And there's more coming in behind that, folks. That's what we've got. This is the first in a series. All right, so let's walk you through the timing of all this. We saw this a little bit here during the Kruger's Quick Cast. We're going to extend this on into Friday now. Okay, so there are a few lingering light sprinkles that are trying to develop here this morning, and there could be a passing sprinkle early this morning for parts of the valley. But for the most part, it's a dry start to the day. Even for the coast. By late morning, midday, now we're seeing the cold front passing through. Rain could be heavy at times, especially for Del Norte, northern Humboldt, western Siskiyou County. Southern Humboldt County, just some light showers. Garberville, Redway, you're seeing some light showers. That's really it. Even Eureka, not that heavy. But still fairly dry for Trinity, Siskiyou County, all eastward. Valley, mountains to the east as well. Dry conditions even at noon today. So if you have anything you have to do outside, get them done this morning. Now, by around 3 p.m., this is a slow-moving storm. So now it's kind of overspreading into Siskiyou, Trinity County, westward, still for the north coast, but the valley, for the most part, still dry at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Modoc County, Lass and Plumas counties, dry. You're still dry at this point. Okay, now we take into 6 p.m. today. Now it's beginning to overspread the valley. Now, we're not looking at just steady rain from 3 to 6 p.m., but what we are seeing are some of those scattered showers moving on in. We're also seeing snow in the mountains here, but it's going to be mainly in those higher mountain passes, 5,000, 6,000 feet, that you may start running into some problems there. But you can kind of see here, all of Northern California at this point, by this evening, is most likely looking at some shape or form of a chance for showers. Some of us seeing it much heavier than others, where you're seeing the yellows and oranges, but you get the idea. And by the way, I don't anticipate any thunderstorms out of this one. All right, here's 10 o'clock tonight. Now that cold front is off east of the valley. Look at all the snow that we're seeing in the mountains. So Cedar Pass, Hatchet Mountain, Morgan Summit, mainly above 5,000 feet. Bogard Ranger Station. I think you could potentially see some accumulating snow. Could we even see chamber requirements? It's going to be borderline. You know, we got to really cool off those roads, first of all. Those roads got to cool off. They've got to get below freezing. A lot of times you can have that snow, but the road temperature is just maybe not cold enough. So we'll have to kind of watch that. If you are traveling tonight over some of those higher mountain passes, north and east of the valley, say if higher mountain pass above 5,000 feet, you may want to check those road conditions before heading it out. Be sure, the easiest way to do that, weathernorcal.com, click on the road conditions section, you're good to go. All right, but you can see by 10 o'clock tonight, it's beginning to dry out for the valley westward. Now, remember I was talking about another system coming in. This is Thursday morning, this is Halloween morning. Snow flurries in Siskiyou County, some scattered showers to the north and west, but fairly dry to start off the day Thursday in the valley and even off to the east. Taking to the midday on Thursday, scattered showers even making their way into the valley. But really what you'll notice for the valley tomorrow, not a lot of rain all day long. Most of it will be in the mountains and along the coast. And we're still seeing some of that snow in the higher elevations, mainly above 4,500 feet at this point. In fact, snow level is probably rising a little bit for Halloween, so probably closer to 5,000 feet. Now, 5 p.m., maybe some of those trick-or-treaters are going out. Look at the mountains, look at the coast. All of the mountains and coast have the best chance for just some isolated showers starting at 5 p.m. We may start the north end of the valley with a stray sprinkle or a light shower. So those kiddos, just something maybe to keep them dry if they're out there at 5 p.m. South of that, you can see Red Bluff, Corning, Chico, Willows, Oroville, most likely dry. Maybe a passing sprinkle, but most likely dry. Here we are at 8 o'clock tonight. This is around mid-time when the kids are out trick-or-treating. Look where most of the rain is. Higher elevations and along the coast, but it's kind of few and far between at this point, so it's not very much widespread. But there may be a brief heavy downpour in some areas, especially you can see near Shingletown, near Bernie, right? Something to kind of think about there. But the valley looks like it's fairly dry. Keep in mind in the valley, even though it's showing dry conditions, there still may be a passing sprinkle. So just be aware of that as the kiddos are out there. All right, Friday morning. Halloween's over with. We don't have to worry about the trick-or-treaters anymore. They're just going to be waking up in the morning on a big sugar high, right? But you're going to wake up in the morning on Friday as well and dealing with this. We've got more rain and snow out there. Now, we've got snow levels probably dropping a little bit, maybe down to about 4,000 feet. But again, I don't anticipate any big problems on those mountain passes, with the exception of, say, above 5,000 feet, still the potential for some chain requirements there. But you'll see here, scattered showers for the valley. And then we go into the noon hour. Look at this. Through the afternoon, we're seeing that next round of rain pushing through. Now, this particular forecast model may be overdoing it on the overall intensity of this rain, but you get the idea. We're going to get that one last push late in the day, Friday into Friday night, that's going to push eastward and bring us another round of some decent rain. But again, we don't have to worry about the trick-or-treaters anymore because Halloween was, well, of course, it's going to be tomorrow. So let's take a look at the kind of just progression as the storms pass through. Today, most of it's to the north and west. You're talking about 1/4 to 1/2 an inch for the coast, about 1/4 of an inch inland, and a little bit less than that for Trinity County. By 6 p.m., we may see some light accumulations for parts of the valley, but most likely not much at this point. Now we go for Wednesday night through Thursday, 5 p.m. All right, see how the north end of the valley around Redding is seeing most of it, but even around Chico. Could see upwards of 1/10, 2/10, maybe even 1/4 in the valley. And where we're seeing most of the rain again, because the storms are coming from the northwest, yeah, off to the north and west. Let's take you into Friday, through Friday, 5 p.m. Now, I mean, look at this. I mean, you're talking 1/4 to maybe even over 1/2 of an inch in parts of the valley. So some decent rain is heading our way. And this is not including what we're going to see Friday night into Saturday morning. So you can see here for parts of the coast, you're over an inch. It's also the case for some of the inland areas. And then, of course, it's less heading to the east. We're not seeing as much off over the eastern mountains, say like Modoc County or Lassen County, for example. All right, so that's kind of looking at that. How about the snow? Of course, we've been talking about snow, right? So what does that look like? Well, today at 6 p.m., it's just not much. But let's take a look at this. Here's Scott Mountain. All right, you may see some accumulating snow there. It'll be interesting. As you know, there's a Facebook page for Scott Mountain. So it's always kind of fun to check that. People are usually pretty good about posting pictures there. And you can see here, 5 p.m. for tomorrow, we're beginning to see some of those higher elevations. Even over 1 foot of snow. Mount Shasta, the mountain, could see over 1 foot of snow. Right? You're seeing the Warner Mountains, seeing, 6 to 12 inches of snow there. Looks pretty good. But you'll also notice some of these lower elevations. I think Alturas, Chester, okay, maybe a dusting of snow. I think it's overdoing it for Dunsmuir, Etna, Quincy, and even Portola. But you get the idea. We could see some around 4,000, 4,500 feet. Take you through Friday. Not much more on top of that here, but you can see the Warners are now over 1 foot of snow, over 1 to 2 feet of snow for the mountain of Mount Shasta. And some of those higher elevations in the Marble Mountains and Trinity Alps could be looking at a decent amount of snow there as well. But as I mentioned, places like Chester, Alturas, maybe a light dusting of snow. Maybe a mix around Mount Shasta City, maybe a mix around Bernie, maybe upper Shingletown, Viola. Sure, you could possibly see some snow there as well. So it should be interesting. We'll take a look. It'll be interesting as we kind of go in the next several days. Here's Futurecast. All right, Let's take a look at the long range. We just looked at the short range, so we're not going to look at this in too much detail, but there's, of course, tonight's system. There's Thursday's system, not as strong, and then Friday's system looks pretty strong going into Friday night and maybe even into early Saturday morning. Now, as that pushes through, this model has us dry on Saturday. However, I will mention this. This model has been dry consistently all week long for this upcoming Saturday. However, look at this. We're actually seeing a little bit of activity lingering Saturday morning for parts, especially to the east. So, not entirely out of the question for maybe a morning sprinkle light shower for all of Northern California on Saturday morning. But Saturday afternoon, I think it'll be pretty much gone. A little gusty with those winds too, by the way. Look at this. You can see these isobars. These are the white lines. When they're tightly packed together like that, that's when we typically see, of course, those gusty winds. So that's coming in on Sunday. And then through next week, we got a high pressure building in through the middle of next week. Now again, with these areas of low pressure down to the south, some gusty winds could be setting themselves up again for the middle and latter part of next week. But overall, once we get past these storms through Saturday, drier than normal conditions are in the forecast. And remember where we started October, over 100 degrees and then even over 100 degrees for the 6th and 7th of this month. But Monday and yesterday, upper 60s. And that's about where we're going to be. In fact, maybe even lower than that to wrap up the month. So cooler than normal is what we're expecting here in the long range. But take a look at this. We're actually going to be looking at cooler than normal conditions, especially through Monday. But then we're going to be kind of closer to normal by the middle and latter part of next week. So some slightly warmer air in place, but I don't expect it to get much warmer than average. There you can see your wave heights today. Actually not that bad, but they will be increasing going into your Thursday. And there actually is a gale warning for today. You can see those winds from the south at 20 to 25 knots. Your waves to the northwest at 5 feet at about 10 seconds. And again, that gale warning will most likely be extended into tomorrow as well. So your Trinity County neighborhood forecast, mid to upper 50s for today. We're not going to talk about the timing of the rain. We talked about that in great detail here just a second ago. So just look at the 7-day forecast, knowing that you've got off and on chances for showers at least through Friday, possibly even into Saturday. Today, mid to upper 50s, even some low 60s along the coast, 60 for Orleans, 63 degrees for Willow Creek. For Siskiyou County, temperatures in the 40s and 50s, just depending on your elevation and exactly where you are. Off and on chance of showers through Friday, maybe even into Saturday. Here's your Modoc County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures mainly in the mid to upper 40s. Eastern Mountains, 50s, although Viola, one of the cooler spots at 45, and 58 degrees for Paradise. Here's your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by our friends at Walgamith Painting. We got those temperatures in the low to mid 60s here for today. A little bit cooler though for Lakehead and Whiskeytown, somewhere in the mid 50s. 63 for Redding, as well as Red Bluff, Palisadro, and Cottonwood. So there's your 7-day outlook for Redding. We've got those temperatures dropping and chance for showers off and on through Friday. And then we dry things out and warm things up by Sunday, Monday, and into Tuesday. That is your morning update. I'll be back at noon for the latest forecast.
Wiggly mouth.
Woggy mouth.
No.
Painting.
Wiggy mouth.
It's Woogie Moth Painting.
It's Walgamith Painting, and yes, we'll paint anything.